It's Daily Epiphany with Success Loops. All right. One of my past epiphanies was basically about saying that fake it until you make it's bullshit. And I'm going to actually elaborate on why that is so today, because basically we're looking at self-acceptance and authenticity. And basically, the need to fake it in some ways is basically you suppressing some part of you're suppressing some part of your authenticity. So basically, it's like there's non-acceptance going on. This isn't there, so I'm going to fake some nonsense, some BS, and pretend like I'm where I want to be, which for me is resistance. It's non-acceptance, and I think that basically runs against basic laws of the universe. So let's continue as to why I think authenticity is so important. I believe that authenticity is really important because I don't believe that it's a mistake that we are made. Every single person is so unique and so different. Nobody has the same talents. There's a lot of commonalities, yes, but we're different. I believe that basically we're a creation of the most powerful forces of the universe, and the universe basically is an intelligent force, and there's no mistake that we're here. So for us to be something that we're not, I believe, is going against the flow of the universe. And normally the universe, being very clever and always trying to find balance, will often give you a bit of a clap to get you back onto your path, onto your authentic path. Now that for me is kind of a comfort in a way, because basically then you're looking at any hardship or suffering, so to speak, or pain, or any feedback that you're getting is basically it's just that, it's feedback to say, hold on a second, we need to readdress this. Okay, so let's get cracking. Why is it that we are not authentic? We have pretty much elaborated that, because we're not happy where we want to be, and we want to be somewhere else. We want to reach some level of success, and that's fine. But a lot of the time we're inauthentic is because we're born with the unworthiness factor. And I think that's one of the biggest things that faces us today, is because we really do feel that we are this illusion that we're separate to everybody else, and that we have to compete. And so that often leads to us feeling that we're just not enough. So we then kind of adopt other people's values, and we'll hop into that, because basically what we're trying to crave at the end of the day is just a craving for acceptance and acknowledgement. And we don't believe that being authentic will get us that. Whereas deep down, I think our inner beingness, our soul self, is aware of this, and the universe, always seeking balance, will always try and put everything back into an ebb and flow. So I've got 3 steps to getting authentic. And the first step is understanding authenticity and self-acceptance. You've got to have some form of self-acceptance, otherwise true, genuine authenticity is not going to shine through. Now, in order to do this, we need to erase and replace unworthiness with worthiness. We need to erase and replace our unacceptance with self-acceptance, our self-unacknowledgement with self-acknowledgement. Now, if anyone struggles with this, which we all do, I'll attach a link, I'll put it somewhere in the details, that basically looks at building our self-worth. It looks at the issue of our unworthiness, and it contains a whole bunch of affirmations that are easily more understood and can be rationalized, so you're not just BSing yourself the whole time. I'll include that link, and it's a daily thing, so just keep watching that until it's you can imprint, it gets imprinted. A super important factor here is that true authenticity is something that is allowed. Okay? It cannot be forced. As soon as you feel like you're in a place of forcing your authenticity, know that you're being inauthentic. That is just not the case. Authenticity is something that is allowed. You be authentic, you don't do authentic. Please understand that all of your worthiness, acknowledgement, and acceptance is your birthright. It's something that you were born with, just like love. You're worthy of that. There's no doubt about that. We just got to get it into the membrane. All right, moving on to step 2. Step 2 is self-awareness and self-observation. Without true self-acceptance, you're never going to get true authenticity because you're not accepting what is deeper down. So how do we observe that? How can we see that? So basically, you then become the observer. You need to start paying attention to what are you doing and why am I doing it? Am I doing this for acceptance outside of myself? Am I doing it for acknowledgement somewhere outside of myself? Or am I doing it for my own state of gratitude, my own state of acceptance, my own state of acknowledgement? Now, it's not always easy to pay attention to these things because we often get caught up in stuff. So it does take a little bit of practice to practice your self-observation and your self-awareness. So the other thing is you've just got to then start paying attention to the little nuances that you have. What makes you really gut laugh out loud? What makes you cry quietly? What gives you goosebumps? What really moves you? These are all pointing to your higher set of values, and it's important to get in touch with those higher set of values. It's something that Dr. John Demartini swears about. He says, show me your values and I'll show you where you're going. I'll show you your life and I'll show you your path to success. It's kind of like looking at finding these, your genuine values is like a sense of self-attunement. You're tuning yourself into that, into the stuff that is your deep down desires, and once you can align with that, and then they say normally manifestation takes place once mind, body, and soul are all in alignment, then things starts to happen. This is what they're getting at there. And when we're out of alignment, then basically the universe kind of nudges us into better alignment. That's the part where I said where it basically does have our back, because any times we are not authentic, then it can nudge us back. We get that feedback, which could feel like a kick in the arse. All right, step 3, finding the balance. Now this is an amazing epiphany to get your head around, but once you've got it, man, it's really, really, really powerful. Finding the balance. I said earlier that the universe is always trying to find the balance. There's always an ebb and flow, and it's about getting into that state of flow and moving with it and trusting it. So we are aware now that we are in the realm of duality. Okay, it's a relative planet where everything has its relative opposites. Okay, the big mistake we make is we polarize these opposites and we make them separate and disconnected. Okay, that is a bit of an illusion that we need to transcend. I'll explain why. We need to perhaps start, the first way to start looking at it is to see a coin. A coin has 2 opposite sides. So they're 2 separate sides, but it's the same coin. I thought that was a fairly good analogy, but then I was shown a better one. Basically, if you look at a rectangular bar magnet, okay, it has 2 poles. It has a positive, it has a negative. Okay, now here's the interesting thing. Try and separate those 2 poles. What happens when you break that magnet in half, if you cut it in half evenly? Have you separated the positive and have you separated the negative? No, you'll find immediately they create new positive and negatives. They become 2 complete magnets. You cannot separate those poles. You cannot separate them. That was kind of a big hit me in the face with the plank moment. And if we can use that as an analogy, we can then start seeing that there is no separation. Okay? And we'll notice that without failure, there can be no success. The 2 have to go hand in hand. Now, if you expand on that, without right, you'd have no wrong. Without day, there'd be no night. And this is quite difficult to get your head around because we've practiced separating them for so long. All right, so we do have this polarization, but we realize now they are actually interconnected and they cannot be separated. So this is now when we see that any contrast that happens to us is basically our ally and not our foe. Because without the contrast, we wouldn't get the relative opposite. They have to occur in a harmony, in that ebb and flow. So it's an important factor to realize that a good way to help your self-acceptance is to know that you are the sum of both polarities. You sometimes display the qualities that we deem positive, healthy, and we sometimes portray those that don't. It's just how we are made up, and that's how we actually are. And if that helps us immensely to get to that stage of self-acceptance. And once we reach the stage of self-acceptance, and we can realize that there is no real good or evil, and we can start to observe where our aptitudes lie, where our values lie, and we can self-attune to that, we are then in alignment, we're then in a better flow, and then life then won't be so hard, because even then, when we do get our wake-up calls, we realize that we're being pushed to the right direction. And we should see more. With our attunement, we then should see more prosperity, more harmony, and more happiness, and all of the fulfillment and wealth that comes along with it. Recap. So step 1, understanding inauthenticity and self-acceptance. Know that you are born worthy, that you are worthy of self-acceptance, self-acknowledgement, self-love, and all of that. And it is something that you're born with. You are whole, complete, enough, and worthy. You never need to project that onto another person, making it their responsibility to make you feel whole, enough, and worthy and complete. It is your job, nobody else's, so sail in. And don't forget to watch the worthiness affirmation daily. It's the vitamin C of building up your self-worth. Let's get to step 2. Step 2 is self-awareness and self-observation. This is now being aware of when you're displaying your own inauthenticity or your own authenticity, and you've got to observe this outside of criticism and judgment. It's about allowing, loving, embracing, nurturing your own inner beingness and allowing it to express itself authentically. Remember, your values are unique. They're your idiosyncrasies. They're what set you apart from everyone else. They're your unique superpower that you have, which is your unfair advantage, that stands you separate and allows you not to have to compete with anybody else. You are your own completeness, whole person, equipped with everything to have a full and complete existence. Recapping 3. Everything is related. And when viewed from the point of a connected perspective, you then start to see the feedback, which is there, your ally, which helps you, it is not just to help you, but it guides you to your inner attunement for you to get onto a better path of harmony, alignment, where you can express your authentic, genuine self and the values that reflect them. Right, so here's to self-acceptance, here's to being authentic, here's to self-attunement, here is to living within your values and allowing the magic that happens when you in that alignment. So awesome. Here's to living authentically and getting aligned with our with mind, body, and soul, and that infinite intelligence that surrounds everything, and living in harmony with that, and getting into a state of flow. The Big Cigar.